LeBron's plan for Bronny is falling apart. All right, so the Bronny James situation is kind of interesting because Bronny James at one point was considered to be good enough to be a first-round NBA pick on his own, with the added bonus of teams assuming if they drafted Bronny, they may be able to sign or trade for whatever LeBron, because LeBron has made it known that he wants to play with Bronny James. So that package was like, well, how good is that? Like if Bronny is a decent enough player and you get LeBron, does that boost him from the 10th overall pick to the first overall pick? Now we've hit a bit of a problem. The problem now is that Bronny seems to be really not even an NBA pick. But there is still the chance that if you take him, you get LeBron. So in a way, it's like, don't look at it by drafting Bronny. Look at it by, would you draft LeBron for like 2 years? And if that's the case, I don't care how good Bronny is. To me, it's the same thing as having Thanasis in Milwaukee just to have Giannis. If you had to draft Thanasis to get Giannis, Thanasis would go top 5, right?
ESPN dropped its latest mock draft, and for the first time, Bronny was nowhere to be found. Oh wait, he actually was in the next year's draft as a second-round pick. And this ain't just some guy in his basement making these mock drafts. ESPN has Jonathan Cavoni, a super plugged-in guy to NBA scouts and
This room is unbelievable. I mean, they got my guy locked in an absolute chamber. This room is nuts. We've got artwork all over the place. There's a treadmill. There's a couch and a fireplace. What's happening in here? I mean, this is a multifaceted room if I've ever seen one.
GMs. If he's saying Bronny's not NBA ready, the entire NBA is saying it. Except for one guy. LeBron immediately tweeted, "Can y'all please just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do."
I love when LeBron says this stuff because LeBron's the kind of guy to name his son LeBron James Jr. and then be like, guys, you got to let him be his own man. Like, guys, come on. You got to let him be a kid. You can't put that much pressure on him. You know, it's like, LeBron, you named him after yourself.
If y'all don't know, he doesn't care about what a mock draft says. He just works. Earn, not given. These mock drafts doesn't matter one bit. There is a lot wrong with that tweet, including how ironic is it that LeBron is telling us to let the kid be a kid? But before we get to that, how good is Bronny, really? So he's a
Not very good. I mean, he's below average at USC, and honestly, guys, if he was not LeBron James' son, he wouldn't even be. I mean, I don't even know if he'd be on a roster, but he certainly wouldn't be talked about, and he certainly wouldn't be on mock drafts.
19-year-old freshman at USC, Bronny suffered cardiac arrest on July 24th, which delayed his college start. So after months of not playing, Isaiah Collier got injured. So in his first start, Bronny had 1 assist, 2 boards, and 0 points. Not ideal. He's started every game since, and he's improved statistically. But USC has won 0 games with Bronny as a starter. Their worst season in almost 10 years. By far, the most exciting part of their games is when LeBron shows up. This is why we are just now hearing Bronny should wait at least another year. We didn't know that for sure before the season, but now...
I think Bronny... I think the end goal is obvious. The end goal is LeBron wants to play with Bronny. Yeah, which, or again, it's funny that it's like, hey guys, come on, let Bronny just do his own thing. Let Bronny have his own journey. Except when he gets to the NBA, then he's going to be part of my journey. But that's what he wants to do, bottom line. So LeBron is playing good enough and at a high enough level that he could probably wait another year for Bronny. That's probably fine. That might actually be better for LeBron's overall plan. So it does make sense for them to wait. But again, I mean, this is the main crux of the issue. If Bronny did not play a single minute for your team, would you still draft him to get LeBron? I would. And I'll go one further. In that scenario, if Bronny doesn't play a single minute for your team, or let's say he doesn't score a single point. Let's say he still plays when LeBron plays, whatever. But he doesn't score a single point. I'm not saying he has to start every game or anything like that. and you get LeBron for 2 years, I honestly, I think that's worth like a top 15 pick. You can make the argument with the NBA, which how the draft is anyways. You can make the argument that having LeBron for 2 years is worth like a top 7 pick. It's probably not worth a top 5 pick, depending on the draft. Like, you're obviously not going to take that situation over Victor Wembanyama or really solid starters. But on the years where the draft is weak, and you're taking kind of a flyer on a player anyways, I would rather just take the LeBron.
Now, after 19 games, the NBA has spoken. He is not ready. So why is there a huge spotlight on a second-round pick? Because LeBron created it. Yeah, yes. Bronny would have some spotlight anyway, but not like this. I mean, we hear about other NBA players' kids in college, like Zaire Wade or Sharif O'Neal, but LeBron took it to the next level.
LeBron took... The fact is, Dwayne Wade is not in the pros. Carmelo Anthony isn't in the pros. Shaq isn't in the pros. Like, there's not that possibility that you get the superstar, and they wouldn't be playing at that level anyways. LeBron is doing something we've never seen before. This has never happened before. So it's very unique. It's a very unique situation that LeBron's playing at such a high level, and he's made it known what his intentions are as far as playing with his son.
First time he mentioned playing with Bronny is when he was in 7th grade. In an interview with GQ, LeBron said, "I damn sure would love to stick around if my oldest son can have an opportunity to play against me. That'd be the icing on the cake right there." Which is actually a nice statement. Caught some attention, but nothing like what he said the next year. You want to ask me what is my greatest achievement of my life? If I'm on the same court as my son in the NBA, that would be #1 in my lifetime as an NBA player. Okay, so the guy who wants to be compared to Michael Jordan is saying his greatest achievement is playing with Bronny? Now people were really paying attention. But he also just said playing on the same court, which could mean anything. He really took it up a notch at the 2022 All-Star Weekend. "My last year will be played with my son. Wherever Bronny is at, that's where I will be."
Yeah, see, now this is where it's like, well, hold on a second. Now, hold on. Now this is where teams are opening their eyes to, if we draft him, LeBron is going to be on the roster.
"I would do whatever it takes to play with my son for 1 year. It's not even about the money at that point." Okay, talk about a huge spotlight on your kid. When an entire network, ESPN, revolves around LeBron, you don't think that's going to cause some pressure? So let's go back to the LeBron tweet after an ESPN mock draft had him going next year. "Can y'all please just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do. Let the kid be a kid." Are you kidding, LeBron? And no matter what he...
It's a classic LeBron situation where he says one thing, then he kind of walks it back, says the opposite, tries to have his cake and eat it too.
He decides to do. When has that ever been a concern? Can you believe this entire time with LeBron talking about Bronny's future since he was in 7th grade, Bronny has done 0 interviews about what he wants. But before we get all emotional about the pressure of being Bronny James, there is some good about this. According to the NIL rankings for 2024, Bronny is the #1 richest college athlete in America. Not talk about daddy's money, this is his money. More endorsement cash than anyone because of his last name and that spotlight.
I mean, honestly, if Bronny doesn't want to, he certainly doesn't have to. LeBron James is a billionaire. Bronny is earning $6 million in NIL. He'll be fine.
Kind of interesting. 3 of the top 4 kids are connected to famous families. At #2, the son of Deion Sanders, Arch Manning, the nephew of Peyton and Eli. But the difference with Bronny is that everyone's also focused on why he's not good enough to be in the pros. Like, none of these other kids are even mentioned as professionals yet because they're not there. But
they don't have the possibility. One, they don't have the possibility of playing with their father. Like, Deion Sanders isn't playing at an absolute elite level in the NFL, and he hasn't said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to play with my son." Peyton Manning, same thing, right? And Arch hasn't even played in college. So Arch is a long way away from getting drafted. And Shador is getting talked about of his draft potential. Because Shedeur right now, people think he could be a top 10 pick.
Bronny, it's the focus, and it's negative, which sucks. And of course it's negative when his dad tweets things like, man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. It's lightweight hilarious.
Yeah, that's not helping anybody. Like that's one of those LeBron tweets, one of those LeBron moments where it's like, LeBron, this really isn't what Bronny needs right now. I think LeBron is probably in his mind, he's thinking, oh, good, I'm giving my son some shine, get some eyeballs on him, get him some, get him some looks, but I don't think he realizes the pressure it puts on him.
Better than current NBA players? He also said in front of Lakers media that Bronny could play for us right now easy. So
he can barely play for USC right now.
Slow your roll. Bronny is not that good. You could make the case that LeBron is kind of like the next LeVar Ball. LeVar not only trained his kids to be in the NBA.
I mean, the Ball brothers were legit. Like before Lonzo's injury, legit. And Lonzo in college was an absolute superstar. Like Lonzo was one of the best players, if not the best player in college. LaMelo has been good. LiAngelo has been good, but has some off-court issues that has kind of held his draft stock back. But even he could play, and he is better, I think, or he was better when he was talked about being drafted than Bronny is right now.
Yeah, he talked about them like they were the next faces of the league. It created an unfair spotlight for Lonzo, which made things a lot tougher than they needed to be to start his career. LaMelo is living up to the hype, but Bronny right now might be closer to LiAngelo. So LeBron deleted his...
Yeah, see, I don't think so. I mean, LiAngelo's issue was off court. Bronny's issue is not off court. Bronny's issue is on court. And again, like, LaMelo Alonzo would have been a star. Like Lonzo was good. Lonzo was really good at UCLA. And Lonzo was kind of figuring things out in the pros before his injury. He was kind of becoming he was kind of figuring out his shot, and he was turning into a different player. So, I don't think that's a good comparison, to be honest.
His tweets about letting a kid be a kid because someone probably told him, dude, read the room. But Bron was right about one thing. These mock drafts don't matter one bit if you're Bronny. Even though
Yeah, they don't. Because Bronny shouldn't even... It shows you the power of this whole LeBron situation, because Bronny wouldn't even be close to a mock draft. Wouldn't be anywhere near a mock draft if it wasn't for the possibility of teams playing with LeBron.
He's not good enough to be in the NBA right now. Dude could still go in the first round. The Athletic reported, not only are rival execs increasingly convinced that LeBron might want out of the Lakers situation, they're also focused on the Bronny James factor, which continues to loom large. The only teams that would make sense to use a first-round pick on Bronny are title contenders to get LeBron. So Bronny could be on the radar for like the Knicks, the T-Wolves, the Pelicans, the Heat, the Sixers, the Warriors, the Cavaliers, and others. If teams think LeBron would join them on a discount, it doesn't matter what a mock draft says. It turns out LeBron
100%.
doesn't have to make his decision to stay with the Lakers until 3 days after the NBA draft, so he can wait to see where Bronny goes, then decide on his own future. But the Lakers, per a high-ranking team source, are also willing to explore the notion of adding Bronny.
Yeah, see, I think this is very possible that the Lakers say, all right, we'll just draft him. We'll draft him, we'll keep him here, we'll keep LeBron happy. That makes sense kind of for both sides.
James next season. The dream scenario, LeBron and Bronny in LA. Plus, the Lakers could make a major move this offseason to improve the team. They chose not to trade for DeJounte Murray at the deadline, which opens up 3 first-round picks to trade with Austin Reeves' valuable contract. Rumors say Trae Young may have already played his last game in Atlanta after having surgery. Several reports say the Hawks might be willing to move on from Trae, and he is represented by LeBron's agency, Clutch Sports. If Bronny was on that team, his role would be as a 3-and-D guard. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's got a high IQ.
Yeah, it's kind of his role, right? It's kind of what they want him to do in the pros, is just come in, be 3-and-D, just kind of be athletic. We're not going to ask you to do much. Again, like, it sounds crazy, and people put a big spotlight on it because it's LeBron James, but this is no difference than the Bucks having all of the Antetokounmpos on the roster. Like, Thanasis is not an NBA player. He might be the worst player ever rostered on an NBA roster. Could honestly be the situation. He is there just because of Giannis. So it's not that insane to think that a team will make a roster move to keep a star either happy or there. And I mean, Bronny probably would at least offer some defense, would at least offer some athleticism, whereas Thanasis basically is just a guy like not even a rec league player.
But we'll never be who can hit open shots. But even that is a stretch at this point. So look, the spotlight created by LeBron is unfair, but at the same time, the kid could still get drafted in the first round. Honestly, I don't think this story is even done until years from now, where we actually see how it affects Bronny's career in the NBA. Maybe being on an NBA team helps him develop, like Chet Holmgren having that year out. But one team that is rolling right now is the Dallas Mavericks. After the trade deadline, they have the 4th best defense in the NBA.
Let's take a look at the NBA draft from last season. And let's just look at some teams and some players and where Bronny could possibly go. All right, here's last year's draft. So pretend Bronny is available. Wembanyama's getting drafted. Brandon Miller's getting drafted. Scooter Henderson's getting drafted. This is where you start thinking about it. The Amen Thompson, Asar Thompson, Anthony Black, Bilal Coulibaly. You're telling me the Pacers wouldn't rather have LeBron James for 2 years than Bilal Coulibaly? The Wizards with Jarris Walker, the Dravs with Taylor Hendricks, like Cason Wallace, like these guys right here. You would much rather have a couple years with LeBron and Bronny than just drafting these guys. Like the NBA draft is weird. You know, the NBA, and if you go even further down, like if you go down to some legit contenders and you're looking at in the bottom of the first round, you don't think the Clippers would rather have LeBron James and Kobe Brown? I mean, all these teams down here would take the LeBron Bronny risk. So I don't think it's crazy to say that just the LeBron factor could push Bronny up to like 7-8 overall. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I would much rather have that for a couple of years than take my chances with Taylor Hendricks, Cason Wallace, Jet Howard, Derek Lively, Grady Dick, Kobe Buffkin. Like, you know, I don't think it's even really close. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you think Bronny will get drafted? Do you think Bronny will get drafted in the top 10? And do you think him and LeBron will play together? Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.